All right, welcome everybody. It is March 15th, and this is the bi-weekly Cloud Custodian community meeting. This is where we have our high bandwidth discussions with an open and semi-structured agenda so we can cover some of the stuff that everyone's working on and get to share tips and tricks. So with that, please keep in mind that we do record and publish these on YouTube. And as always, the CNCF Code of Conduct is in effect. I have the notes URL in chat. Feel free to dive in there. It's just a markdown document. If you want to add stuff, at the bottom of the agenda, and we have time, we will cover it. With that, let's get started with some of the basics here. First is we have Cloud Custodian 102, which is happening March 16th. That is tomorrow. Click the link through. This is our first 102. Liz, how we looking?
It's coming together. No, it's gonna be good. Yeah, it's going to be really good. In this webinar session, we will be covering C7N mailer and C7N org. It's not a workshop, so it's not hands-on, but we'll be going over how to, what the tools are, what you need to make them work, what the configuration files for them look like, what they look like in a policy config file that's specific to Notify and C7N mailer, and then I will be demoing how to use them. I'm not gonna say I'm still working on the slides.
So Liz,
by the time you see them, they'll be good.
I have a question on that one. So are you going to cover the C7N for the Azure piece as well? How do we use in the Azure?
No, unfortunately, I am at the moment still most proficient in AWS. And since this is the first time I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing it with AWS. And I know that once you start getting into Azure, it starts getting a little bit more specialized. However, we are planning on supporting that in the webinars. It's also a matter of me learning more Azure and spending more time in there so that I feel confident then teaching.
Should we see if Kirill's interested in doing a workshop?
That's actually not a bad idea, because
Yeah.
I would also learn a lot from him too.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know that's, and Jameson and AJ, correct me if I am mistaken, but as I understand it, when it comes to both mailer and C7N org, it gets a little bit more specialized, right, when you're using Azure?
A little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit different with how you provide credentials for Azure to authenticate to your different accounts in C7N org, and the mailer setup is definitely different.
Yeah,
I
because
can't say I've ever used the mailer in Azure before.
Yeah, and I know that, like, because like with the policy, it's like it's easy to kind of translate the concepts over of like filters and actions and resources, but yeah, it's a little bit more specialized.
All right, I'll see if we can ask Cyril. Maybe we can find time on the calendar.
That's a great.
I mean, even if it only ends up being Keith just asks Kirill a bunch of questions about how to get your Azure stuff set up right, that might be worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, thanks for making that point. Like, we definitely hear that, and you're not the first to ask. And what we'd also like to start doing, what I've been trying to do, is kind of create templates for these webinars too, and pushing them up to a public repo, so that the idea is that eventually, like, members of the community can also start teaching each other, so that this becomes more of a community resource. That'd be my hope, because I know a lot of other open source communities kind of do same things where there's like community ambassadors. So that's my hope with that, so that we can all like lift each other up. So I'm also working toward that, like a more sustainable model for how we can teach each other. But yeah, thanks for that.
All right. I will get back to you, Akif, on that one,
Thank you.
because I'd be very interested in that as well. Moving on, Pycon Sprint. We are planning on a few of us are planning on attending Pycon. That's in Salt Lake City in the U.S. April 27th to May 3rd, and that weekend we're hoping to run a hack sprint. Basically, just grab a room, a bunch of laptops, get in there, and get some work done. So, if you're attending, please contact me, and we'd love to hang out with you. And lastly, before we get on to the other stuff, our first This Month in Cloud Custodian newsletter is out. This is everything that's happened in February, highlighting some of the work that a lot of you in this call have been doing. If you've been coming to these calls, this is basically a summary of all that month's calls. So if you're looking for a higher level thing and maybe you can't attend all the meetings and the kind of show notes that we're taking are a little bit too much for you, you can subscribe to this on the Stacklet site, and you'll get this in your inbox here below. So good stuff. Thanks to everyone for all the work they've been doing. It makes generating that content easy. All right, PR and issue. So that kind of handles the formal agenda items. Let's get to the questions first, actually. Tushi, you want to go first, and then we'll move on to PR and issues and issue triage, I guess is the best word for it. So Matushi, go ahead.
Sure, yeah. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So in the last community meeting, I had a question. This is regarding one of the policy which we wanted to create to check if the EC2 lies within the subnet. And Kapil gave us some useful links, and we were able to create the policy, and it worked successfully, thanks to you guys. One small thing which came up is while comparing the tags for EC2 and subnet, we got to know that the EC2 instance has a tag named application, whereas the subnet has the tag name application CI. They both correspond to the same thing, but we wanted to know if there's a regular expression to check on the name of the tag instead of the value.
Yeah, was this the question that came up in Gitter earlier today also? This was the same?
Yeah, probably my coworker must have been working on it.
Okay, yeah, so we did have a question in Gitter about this, and I would say good question, because a lot of times we're using regex to match values rather than keys, and the keys we typically assume they're going to be consistent, even though they're sometimes not. I put a couple ideas in Gitter and tried to be honest that I have not tested them. It was one of those, this should work, worth a shot. I would need time because I don't know how to do that. But I think it's a good question. I think it's something that we can follow up. If you're in Gitter also, Matushi, we could try to go through it together. And if it's not possible, get an issue filed. And if it is possible but awkward, then note for future improvement. But at least we get you rolling in the short term.
Yeah, I'm also in that Gitter. I'll just reply to that question. And
sure.
The thing is, right now, all the instances have been marked as non-compliant because of the tags, unmatching, inconsistent tags. So we could do it programmatically, but to avoid that, we tried to use Custodian. So that would be a helpful thing if it could be looked at.
Great. Yeah, I think I saw another question come in on that I haven't gotten back to because I'm not sure if it's possible, which is he was talking about case insensitive matches for that. And I think we had to piece things together. Yeah, I guess let's take it to the Gitter thread, and I'll link George. I'll find that Gitter thread and link it from the notes so that we can all jump over there, whoever's interested.
Yeah, I have a link to it, but Matrix gives me some weird internal link that makes you sign in. But is it
okay? I've got a Gitter link to
the regex rules are the same in the documentation. Is it UDay 1921?
Yes. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
that's the one.
yeah. I think I found it.
Cool.
Yeah, he's my coworker. We both have been working on creation of policies.
Okay.
Awesome. I need to figure out how to link to Gitter without
I've
sign up for
the Gitter link, George. I'll slap it in there.
That would be fantastic, because I have some Matrix link thing it generated.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's quite a link there.
Yeah, I'll replace it with whatever you tell me to replace it with. Okay. Is that it then for this one? Does this link
Yeah,
work?
for
Let's
this
see.
one, that's it. And also in the last community meeting, I
Yep.
brought up a question regarding the C7 and mailer.
Uh-huh.
That also from the solutions you all provided, we were able to find out the issue, and now I'm able to send emails to the correct audience. But I'm hoping that tomorrow's session would be more helpful, and we would like to get some more new things so that we can make that code more effective.
Yeah. So
Yes, that's somewhere.
similar to the Azure question, how many are there? Is there like one or two of you, or because it might make sense for us just to grab like your 3 or 4 people, put something on the calendar, and then just have you pepper AJ with all the questions at once. AJ, that was a theoretical. I'm not saying it would be you. But
Or
Yeah.
what's the question again? For C7 and mailer, just to make sure I know.
it was from
have the answer.
last month.
Right?
I would have to
I'll go,
look it
okay,
up.
I'll take a look at it. If
Yeah.
we have it in the notes.
It is certainly in the notes.
Okay,
Cloud
rad.
Custodian /
Sweet.
community, but in the discussion
Okay, I'll make sure.
section. Let me see. Hold on. I just happen to be there. Let me just.
Yeah, actually, we are using Custodian to provide the security framework for all the instances, for all the AWS services as of now. So we've taken up RDS, now shifted to EC2. Soon we'll be moving on to S3. So yeah, you'll see my face in probably all the meetings over here.
Yeah, that sounds great. Love to have you. All right. Any more on this one before we move on?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
No worries. Akeef, it's your turn.
Yes. So this is everything about the Azure piece. So we deployed the policy back in March 2021. And with the help of Stefan Gordon, I think, he helped me, with all the instructions and stuff, and I was able to successfully deploy. The policy was working fine. But the output that we get from the custodian is in the GZ file, and we ingest the logs into the SIEM solution, and the SIEM doesn't consume the GZ file. So we wrote another function to convert GZ to the consumable version. So that all makes us to change the output directory, where the custodian is storing the data. So I modified the existing policy with just the output, output directory structure, and everything stopped, working. And I did some kind of a troubleshooting, back and forth. I changed few things and see. But then what I'm observing is whenever I deploy things in the debug, it shows me everything is getting in the Azure. But when I actually go in the function and I see the function, there is no code over there. And I'm making this policy run every 5 minutes, that custodian runs and throws something out, but it isn't doing anything. So I have created the GitHub issue also, that's 7160. And I also posted in the community, this is like, we want to solve this thing and I need the help from the community. Is this something with the new version, that's something went wrong, or is it something just for me?
Well, let's have a look. 7 minutes. See, that one wasn't on my list. Oh, because you did it.
So Keith, is that you mentioned that you made some changes? So is this when you're running Custodian to deploy this? Is it a modified version of Custodian, or is it like the latest release version?
Yes. So when I initially did in March 2021, that was version 0.9.11, and it worked at that time. But when I modified the output directly under the execution options, when I did this change, I had the new version of the Custodian, that is 9.15, I think. With this version, when I deploy, you can see in the debug messages, everything looks good, but I don't see the actual code going into the function and running, So maybe you may not have the answer right now. You can do some, try at your end and then let me know.
Yeah, I'm pinging Carol as we speak. Actually, that was but good to know. Do you mind if I get back to you on this one?
Yep, I'm fine. Yeah.
No. And you're in the gear. Okay, so Carol's like, yeah, sorry, didn't have time last week. I'll check it out now. And you're already in the getter then, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I know I just asked you that. I got a bunch of Slack windows open, but looks like Carol's gonna take a look and hopefully that will work. Okay.
Sounds good. That's all I have.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions before we move on? All right, Darren, you got a bunch of goodies for us. Let's go. What's first?
Yeah. Actually, let's go over the PR first. Because one of my colleagues here, Caden, he's submitted a PR. I think quite a while back. I helped him clean it up a little bit. But just want to make sure that what we're doing here is not something that's already supported and we just don't know about it or not. But the idea here is we need to be able to, I guess, filter on cider, but being able to pass in a list of ciders that we want to match rather than just one single cider. I think if you look at the description, I think it's best described with the policy example that we're trying to do here, right? So right now, the first policy we can do right now, right? We can check that, hey, is this a security group? Does it have an ingress rule that is not in this cider, right? That is supported. But for our use case, we have a list of ciders that we want to filter on. So we need to be able to do something like the second sample policy right there, or the third one. And I don't think it's something that we can do right now with Cloud Custodian, and hence we are submitting this PR. So I guess the first question is, is it something that's already supported? If not, then then this PR would make sense. Otherwise, this PR wouldn't make sense.
On top of that, Darren, if we specify the cider as 10.0.0./8, then it current supported Custodian is just do the string match.
Yeah, I mean, if
if someone adds 10 dot like 10.10.10.10/32, it's allowed, right? Anything.
It's not just doing string match if it's one cider. It actually do cider the correct cider verification check. It's only do the string check once we start doing a list here, because it doesn't understand cider. I guess a list of ciders.
I think I need to double check, but I believe I did a regex of ciders in the past.
Regex, yeah, we tried as well. That it's not, if regex is not going to work, as you know, the cider operations works slightly differently. So as you see the code in our PR, changing code, it will support, just a few lines of code will support cider match. If it's a subset of smaller ciders, then it'll match, and then delete or whatever the action.
Yeah, I mean, this one seems reasonable to me. I would want to go take a look at it and run through your test cases, but that sounds right. And I think, Darren, what you were getting at too is that if we have a single cider and it's not a one item array, but if it's a single cider as a string, then it does that network in check the way you'd expect.
I verified that. Yep.
But yeah, but with the array, then it's not going to do the array match.
Yeah, with the array, it will try to see if the IP is one of the member of the list rather than
Yep.
doing the CIDR check against each of the member. Right?
Yep, right on. You got it. So I think this
Mhm.
is good. Sorry for letting this hang out without a response so long. But we'll have to go
Yeah, that was
take
the
a
note
look at that
written
one.
there when I brought it up to Kapil. He was like, I totally missed this one. So let him know. I'm gonna take a look at it. So that I was hoping he'd be here today, but he's not. So I will try to get you like an actual comment from him in here as
Or from
fast
AJ
as I
too.
can.
It sounds like AJ might want to take a look too.
Yeah, I think this is a
Yeah.
good one. I mean, it's
Okay.
so just validating the use case. Like, I get why you would want it, and
Yeah.
you're right. It is possible to do things with regexes, but it's so gross. You have to make it.
Yeah.
You have to put so many together to cover all the cases. So
Okay.
yes, good call.
Can you take an item to just leave a comment there?
Yes.
Yeah. I've noticed that it's best to always leave a comment because then we forgot to go back and leave a comment, and then we do it again. All right. Anything else on this one?
No, that's it for this one.
Okay.
Unless
Next.
Kay, do you have anything else you mentioned for that one?
No,
No,
that's
okay.
it.
Okay. We definitely owe you a review on this one.
I think a
This
bunch
one
of
was
the
just
PR,
merged.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them actually have been merged.
Yep.
I would
All
say
right.
the next one, really, the next big one is the managed config rule one. That's the one that has been out there for a while too. Again, just waiting for, I guess, response from Kapil. We have several conversations on this, and I believe we came to an agreement on how it should be implemented. So I have updated the code to do what Kapil said that how it should be. So just waiting for Kapil or whoever else can actually review it now.
Okay. Then I will leave this one. So would it be safe to say out of these two is what you would want him to look at first?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You know
This
what?
one I would say is a big one. We have
Okay.
quite a few policies right now that use managed config rule. So having this merge in
Got
to
you.
the upstream version here that will help us with our migrations over to using the upstream version of Cloud Custodian here. And then the
Gotcha.
rest, I think just waiting for PR, but not too
Yeah,
critical
those two were
compared to.
merged.
Yep.
All right. So I will put at least both of those on his radar
Yeah,
for
just
today.
those two PR, I would say higher priority. And then for
Gotcha.
the issue one, that this one is of interest here.
This
I
one.
see you put a smiley face too.
I
So
did. I noticed that it looked interesting.
yeah, we asked in Gitter, didn't get any response. Trying to search and look for different people, see if anyone has tried to do this before. I don't think anyone has tried to do this before, but a high level summary is trying to deploy a GCP policy, but from AWS environment. And the idea is, we are a multi-cloud shop here into it, and
Sure.
we want to have different policies for different cloud providers, and but we want to deploy it from a single place,
Right.
which in our case, AWS is where our main workload runs.
Got you.
So we have set up what is called Workload Identity Federation, which is a feature in GCP that allows you to, I guess, exchange AWS credential for GCP credential. Right? I verified that that thing has been set up correctly. It's just that when you run right now, if you scroll down, you'll see the error. Right there. Right there. Unable to acquire in-person credential, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I've opened a support ticket on the GCP side to dig deeper into this, but I believe the root of the issue is the this one API call that is made to GCP. This one right here, post. If you
This one right here.
yeah, if you scroll to see the URL, the generate access token API call that's made to GCP. If when you make this call and you include this header, it's called the xGoog user project, it will blow up. If that thing is not there, then it works fine. And that header is set because of this line right here in client.py of Cloud Custodian.
Mm-hmm.
So I verify that if I take out the quota project ID, if I don't set the quota project ID, everything works fine. I'm still
Okay.
waiting for confirmation from the GCP side that we should not be setting that header when making that gen access token, I think, API call. So I'm waiting for them to hear back from them. But I believe that is the root of the issue. And I think it makes sense because we're trying to get the credentials. So you cannot really set the quota project ID yet. That is something that you set when you make the actual API call after you have been authenticated.
Okay.
But I just want to bring this up in case anyone else has worked with people that have done something similar like this.
Interesting. And then you're waiting for the ticket for them to confirm whether that change is a good idea or not, or
To confirm
whether
that
it's the right.
we should not be sending that that header.
Got you.
And right now we are sending that header because of our code. And in our code, you see how that google.auth.default, we
Yeah.
hasn't called the project ID. It works fine for other setup, but for the setup where we're doing it from AWS,
Got
doesn't
you.
work.
Got you.
And if they confirm that, hey, when you're trying to make the API call to get the token, we should not be setting the header, then we have to figure out how in our code to determine that, hey, we're doing this special case for AWS. Don't include
Right.
that header.
Right.
Yeah.
Because obviously from GCP to GCP, the full header
It works.
makes sense. Yeah. Okay. That is very interesting. I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else.
Yeah, if you know somebody that has been using GCP or knows GCP,
Got you.
pass it along, that will help.
All right. I will make a note of that then in the notes. Any of these other things jumping out at anybody? I do have a few here that we wanted to review. I put a smiley face on this one, just letting people know that if you do find spelling mistakes in like policies and stuff, we 100% want those fixes. So I know a lot of open source projects are like, try not to fix spelling mistakes, but in these cases, they're crucially important. So we definitely encourage those. So thanks to those that are doing that. Do we want to talk about Mailer or any of the other bits while we're here, AJ? Looking lovingly in your direction. I think you had one or two in here.
I don't think I have anything about Mailer.
You had this Azure Initial Defenders one, but I don't know if there's anything to.
Yeah, that one's just we had we were just looking at running some policies against. It's a little bit of a weird resource. I mean, and to be totally upfront, I don't do a whole lot with Azure, so
Yeah.
how much is weird to me or weird in general?
We're all learning about Azure.
Yeah, we're all, yeah. So the client, just the way it comes, the way that we create a client is a little bit different. But we just get a couple Defender properties in now, so we can write some policies against those resources. We'll be adding more Azure support, but just a little bit there.
Yep. Let me see here. Any other issues? We went through these earlier. Obviously, I don't want to take the whole meeting with everyone reading everybody's individual issues, but I did add the examples repo to the bottom there. So if you're interested in keeping track of what the workshop examples and stuff are, that will be there. Other than that, does anybody have anything else? Let me read off my to-do list here as your community manager, the stuff that you want me to do. So I'm going to investigate about doing a C7N workshop just for Azure to get those Azure stuff. Specifically, I got here about identity and setting up those creds and stuff like that. Seems to be a pain point. Does that sound accurate? And then Akeef, I have Carol looking at your issue. Matushi will be following up on that Gitter link. And then 2 PRs you'd like to see prioritized, Darren, for Kapil. And then just general feedback on the GCP when using is that like an AWS jump host or whatever it is you're using, whatever resource you use to manage from an AWS instance, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
right now we're just testing it in an EC2 instance. Yeah.
Got you. All right. Any other agenda items?
I'd say we had a couple people coming in with an issue around checking permissions in it was the one that we have logged there from Custodian. Let Fawn in.
I'm letting Fawn in. Is it a PR or an issue?
It's 7112 is the I just saw an update on it this morning, but I owe another one.
7112. Here it is.
Yeah, this is
security. Oh, this is a long one if I remember.
Yeah, it's a good long one. I'm just
Yeah.
bringing it up just in case anyone has hit this issue. If you've hit something where it says too many principals when you're trying to check when you're trying to run a check against what was it? It's the check permissions filter.
I'm looking for the error.
Yeah, this is one of those PRs that it's pulling in a couple different things, and we've had other related issues and PRs come up. I owe Custodian a failing test, I think. There are a couple pieces in here, so and at least showing how it can break. So that one's going to be on me. And then he's talking about trying to pull out part of this fix because there's part of it that's pretty straightforward, and there's part of it that's a little squirrely. So he's talking about pulling it apart. So we may do that, or we may just try to sort it out and get it all fixed together. But just in case anyone else on the call is hitting that, it's a valid issue. It's a bit of a less common case, but valid.
Right. Hold on. Let me make sure I just highlight that. 7122. Was this on the list? Wait.
This was, yeah, it was on there.
7112.
7112.
Okay. I will make sure I get that in the notes. 7112. All right. And you, AJ owes a test.
Yeah.
Of the already failing variety. Okay, is that it?
That's the best. And then one other one, just publicly hold myself accountable thing. 7138 is a contribution from a first-time contributor.
All right, Kent.
Ring the bell.
Kent NSW.
Yes.
Thanks, Kent.
So valid issue. I owe at least a comment, but we may need to tweak the fix a little bit.
Oh,
To
interesting.
make sure.
Okay.
But it ties into some other work in the service quota area. Worth bringing up here only in case anyone else, any of you, have run into service quota throttling issues. If in case Fawn's nodding along. So okay, yeah, that's it. It's good to bring some of these up because sometimes somebody's hit it, but it's been a lower priority issue, not worth raising. But but you can nod along.
What I'll do in the notes is some of these ones we didn't discuss. I'll just cut them out, and then we'll leave only the ones we discussed to make it nice and focused for everybody.
But yeah, I think something to add there is what Jameson also mentioned in the chat. Do not run this thing, more than once a week, because you'll get your TAM get real angry.
That is true.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to be like, I don't know where, maybe in the docs, a little note that if you use this, don't run it more than once a week. You have to give support some time to bump these quotas.
Yeah, that's a good call for the docs. Whether it's part of the example for the filters or the resource altogether. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a hard one to strictly validate to kill at some validation time because we don't necessarily have all that information, but at least surfacing that. Just back off. Hold on.
So what does the issue sound like if I file it?
Well, so there are multiple. This is I would say that the most immediate issue for this PR is that we're hitting the API and the API is saying like, hold up, I can't give you all of these back, and we need to batch the responses and we need to retry, which it looks like we're not doing for this one call. That's a code fix. We can help with that. The other fix that Fawn is talking about, which is related, is that if we're checking and submitting service requests to increase, if we're submitting customer cases to increase limits on the AWS side, it takes some time for that to go through the customer customer support machinery.
Yeah.
And if we're firing these every hour, then it's going to trigger a whole bunch of support cases in AWS. Your TAM, like Fan saying, your TAM is going to call you and say, stop. What is this custodian thing? Stop.
Okay. So I will file that, AJ, and then I need your help to make that more.
Yeah, less.
I will write it in George speak, and you're going to have to convert it to engineer for me, but we'll figure it out. Let's do it that way. All right. So for sure, I will do that. Fan, you came in late. You got any agenda items? We're about to bridge here. We're about to finish.
Did you post the information on the Pycon session that Kapil talked about, where there's going to be a developer contribution track?
Yes. So we are planning on having a sprint that weekend. Is this related to that or different?
No, is it something that's part of Pycon, or is it just happening at the same time of Pycon?
So according to Kapil, and we haven't like gone and like gotten on the schedule or anything like that, but apparently on the weekends there's like dedicated areas where people can have sprints, and then you fill out a thing, and then they say, you know, Cloud Custodian, you were going to meet in this room and, you know, or that table or whatever. We haven't gone through that process, but we are definitely going to go to PyCon as a group and do this event. The exact details, the times to show up and all that stuff, we don't have yet.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure if there's something I need to sign up ahead of time, you know, if seating's going to be limited or.
Yeah, the way we'll do it, we'll do whatever PyCon asks of us, but we're not going to do extra things like, you know, make you sign up for a custodian.
Okay.
You know, worst case, I might ask you for your t-shirt size or something like that, because I am planning on attending.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I see AJ posted. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was looking at the schedule and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ask this time. Make sure that I need to sign up somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have my contact info? I'm just Jorge@stacklit.io. If you mail me, I will make sure because I don't know who you're the first person who's like, yeah, I want to go. So I will definitely keep you in the loop if you want.
This is something that I feel, you know, there's a lot of things that one comes across and you can make small tweaks. And instead of, you know, hacking one's own fork of Custodian, you know, how to contribute back in a meaningful way where it doesn't add a burden because whatever common things are missing.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing is the tests, right? That's something I'm really bad at. So I'm not sure how much test coverage is required. All that.
Yeah, I think last time when we talked about this topic, we said we are going to develop some kind of a guide for the contributors. Something in that related we have talked last time. I'm still not sure if that is still.
Absolutely. As soon as I get the doc build to work, I will be working on that immediately. You're not the only ones trying to chase down Kapil. We are going to get it like I want to get the doc pipeline. It was connected to this long convoluted thing at the other end of Sphinx, and we're just hopefully just going to connect it right to Netlify or something like that will let me iterate quickly enough to get you what we need. Yes, I'm painfully aware every time I want to fix something in the docs, and
Okay, so AJ, I've never done this before, these sprints, development sprints. So it says Monday to Tuesday, right? I presume so they happen those days, right? Not on the weekend, correct?
I would say I have that link. I have essentially zero knowledge or understanding about how these things work. I've never run one or attended one myself, so
yeah.
It sounds cool is about all I can say that's useful.
Okay.
Umair told me they're on the weekends, but I haven't confirmed. He literally told me like an hour ago. Because it goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday is like when the conference goes.
Interesting. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, they said the conference was the previous week, and then there's like a little bit of a lag, and then it goes, and then the developer sprints were after. So yeah, I mean that page, that link says Monday, Tuesday for dev sprints, but I don't.
It
I
says
don't know. I don't know how it works.
It says tutorials April 27 to 28. The conference is April 29th, which is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, And then sprints, it actually says, are Monday and Tuesday after, is what their official website says. All right, I'm gonna find out what we're doing.
Okay.
Because that's
Yeah,
like the
it'd be
third.
great to know.
Yeah, that's totally opposite of what someone told me this morning. And
plan
that's
to
not gonna work.
which day to travel, because honestly, I probably won't be able to stay a whole week. So I want to
Yeah.
be there when we have this sprint,
Mhm.
because this will be really meaningful.
Yeah, and it's my first Pycon, so I'm absolutely looking forward to going. I've heard so much. So, all right, and with that, we will give everyone 14 minutes back. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. The recording and notes will be in the right place, and we'll follow up on all these items over the course of the week. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thanks, folks.
Have a great
Bye.
Tuesday, everyone.
Good.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.